Well, good morning. I'll put this down near my heart level, and that way you can all hear me. Well, Bonnie, thank you very much for introducing me so thoroughly, because recently I've been reviewing my history as a minister and a chaplain. I thought that I would bring some presents with me this morning because we're going to talk about some things. I wanted to tell you about the title of the book that Doug read to you from. It's called Quantum Physics of Consciousness. And during this last year when I was on sabbatical, I spent a lot of time reading science books because there are so many similarities, despite the fact that people will tell you there aren't. There are. And I think that in quantum physics, and certainly in physics itself, there's a lot of moving toward the unity theory of everything being connected. I'm even beginning to hear it on programs on television, how physics points us to the direction that everything is one. And so I thought I would talk about that a little bit this morning. So here we go. You ready? This is a demonstration. And because of the light in here, I'm not sure it's going to be very much of a demonstration. The title of the talk is You Are, and actually it should be We Are, a Facet of the Divine. Now ask any woman what a facet is, and she'll show you her diamond. But this morning, I'm going to show you something else. I have two of these sitting in my window at all time. Right now, it happens to be sitting with the plants, my wonderful African violets and all my plants that are growing. And in the afternoon, when the sun comes shining through, all the facets are shown all around, as you well know. So I brought my flashlight because I want to say this for you again. You are a facet of the divine. And if we didn't have so much light in here, you could see these facets and see that one, just one, of these is a representation of you, but you are a part of this whole. Okay, we'll try it again. Thanks, Ron. It's not enough. Yeah. Anyway, you get the point, I'm sure. So, what does it mean to think about yourself as a part of the whole? When I first came here in 1998, there were two people that came at the same time I did who were new to the church. One of them was Arlene Tugel, and the other one was Cheryl Clark. And they were both partners in the foundations class. They were absolutely wonderful. And one day, Arlene walked in, and she had this thing in her hand, and it was all kinds of things from the desert, little rocks and little twigs and, little pieces of this, that, and the other. And they were all in her hand, and they were all attached to a particular piece of thread, I'm going to say. And so when you picked it up, you picked up all of it. And she said, and this was in 98, 90, in there, she said, it's a known fact that everything in the desert is connected. It's a known fact. It's a known fact by a good many people, spiritually, that we're all connected. That's very old thinking, very old, but very new because suddenly scientists are saying, okay, look at how we're all one. Now, I'm going to put this down here on the table so you can be reminded that we're all one while I'm busy talking. You know, the last time I was here, and we played a game, and I talked about the things that I had never done as a minister in 35 years. And we played a game saying, I'm going to do this service, and then you tell me what you think I've never done before. And we had two ladies who won. It was a $20 bill, so I had to split it between them. And I thought that today I would start with the crystal, and I would talk to you a little bit about something called the hologram of the mind. And then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of the transitions that have happened. Transitioning, not transitions, but transitioning that has gone on in my life, and share some really fun things with you. So, in this book called The Holographic Universe, was written in 1991, guys. The author, Michael Talbot, who is no longer with us, writes this, and you'll remember it. In the movie Star Wars, Luke Skywalker's adventure begins when a beam of light shoots out of the robot R2-D2 and projects a miniature three-dimensional image of Princess Leia. How many of you have seen that? Okay. This is a hologram. That is what they call a hologram. It begins within, and scientists now think that it is your mind, that it is the consciousness and the mindset of people, so that what's here is what is projected out. So when you see Leia, you're realizing that she's being projected out and you can see her in miniature form. That was not the first time that had been done. Disney had done it years ago when you went to visit the haunted house. There's a little lady who stands at the end of it and waves goodbye to everybody and says goodbye. That's a hologram. So, Luke watches spellbound as the ghostly sculpture of light begs for someone named Obi-Wan Kenobi to come to her assistance. The image is a hologram, a three-dimensional picture made with the aid of a laser, and the technological magic required to make such images is remarkable. But what is even more astounding is that some scientists are beginning to believe the universe itself is a kind of a giant hologram, a splendidly detailed illusion, no more or less real than the image of Princess Leia, that starts Luke on his quest. And those last words, on his quest, are the things that I thought I'd talk about this morning. So one of the things I'm going to share with you is a week ago yesterday, I became a great-grandmother for the fourth time. Her name is Katriana Bell Leidenfrost. And I saw a picture of her on Facebook and family pictures, and I shared that with everybody. And her name means, Katriana means pure, unsullied. Bell, of course, we all know what that means. And her last name is a chemical situation that comes up when any woman puts water on a hot skillet. It's a level of chemistry in which when heat, or when something cooler than the heat, the pan, hits it, it evaporates. So here we are, running around this morning, thinking about life and talking about what's been happening in our lives. I think one of the things I will share with you is that after 35 years in the ministry, as of the 10th of July, I will be retiring. I got tapped on the shoulder about 2016 and said, it's time to stop. And I ignored it. You know how we do? Pay attention here. This is the direction for you to go in. No, I'm not ready. So what I've been watching is how many times retirement has popped up in the last month. In movies I've seen, in TV that I've seen, in stories that I've read, there it is, right in front of me. Oh, that's interesting. Has anybody else noticed that phenomena? That when something comes into your head, all of a sudden everything that supports it shows up and goes, hi, we're just here to remind you. We're the little genies. Actually, in my case, it's little feathers. So we will be having a conversation, God and I, as I'm walking along in the morning, and I'll know I'm on track because all of a sudden in front of me as I'm walking will be a feather. This has been going on in my life for, probably since I was 30, and I became aware of it. So I got all these feathers. Now, as I've said, in the last year, as I did my sabbatical, a lot of thoughts have come. Yes, it's time to stop. It's time for you to give up. It's time for you to let go. Let go of the past. Let go of your purpose-driven life. Let go of old relationships. Let go of your past thinking. Okay, so I go back in and I'm observing. I'm playing the observer, which is really good if you think of your mind as a hologram, because there's a part of you that observes everything. You may have noticed that too. It is really nice to talk to a group of people who know exactly what I'm talking about. Because whether we know what to call it or we don't know what to call it, it is still what it is. It's our inner experience. I came to have an experience. I don't know what you're here for. I know what I'm here for. I'm here for an experience. And that isn't going to change because I've stopped doing one thing and being open to another. And that's exactly what's happening. I'm open to seeing what direction I'm going in. So Spirit said to me on the first of the year when I opened my eyes, hand with bowl and a candle in it, I bring you a new flame. That's for people who think they're not supported by the universe. I just want you to know you are. Because I ask all the time. I'm a scientist. I grew up in Christian Science. I have spent 35 years as a religious scientist. I'm a scientist. I never stop asking why, ever. Why? Okay, this is what you're going to do. Why? Now, one would think God would get tired of hearing that, but that's not my experience. My experience is that when I ask, something unfolds and reveals itself to me. And I may have to wait a while. I'm still waiting. So I'm waiting and saying, it'll unfold. It'll unfold. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the new flame is. I'm excited, but I don't know what it is. So I'm aiming in a certain direction, which is as I let go of things, I am continuing to unfold in my artwork. I'm continuing to do my pottery, my abstract art. I'm continuing to do the things that nurture and sustain me and bring me to a good place. Now, in all of this, look at how many years I've covered and how many things have happened in my life that continue to say change is constant. It isn't that I'm not prepared to change. It's that I'm prepared to be open to what is unfolding as the changes happen. That's hard, isn't it? That's hard because if you're waiting for a while, you're going, well, really, God, come on. Let's see what's going on here. But I have learned, because one of the things that you didn't hear about me is I lived for 7 years with the Buddhists in Los Angeles and got up every morning and meditated with the monks. And then I would leave there in this downtown area of Los Angeles and walk for miles by myself. People would say things to me like, why do you walk in the dark? It's dark. Yeah, I noticed. And then there's light. There's both, dark and light. Thank you. And I'm not afraid of the dark. Because after 35 years of being a hospital chaplain, if you don't think I haven't heard the dark, I've heard it over and over and over again. Because people dwell there. And if you're going to comfort people, you comfort them exactly where they are, whether it's light or dark or gray. It doesn't matter. You comfort them exactly where you are. And so if I go back to Spirit and say, okay, so hurry up. It's like, it's sort of like the First Lady's coat, which raised such a stink. But all I ever saw was, I don't care. I never saw the bottom part of it until I was reading things on the internet. The bottom part of it is, do you? It's a call for people to care, but it has been read as, I don't care. She's asking if you do, because she is trying to get a response from people saying they do care. And she got it. She got responses from people saying, yes, we care. And I thought that was really interesting. Sort of reverse psychology, don't you think? It's like, I don't care, how about you? Yes, there's always things we care about. There's always things that we are going back to Spirit and say, okay, let's recreate this picture. This is a picture that's been presented. Let's recreate it. So if you're in the dark, open the door. Turn on the light. Look through the crystal. Look at what is going on in your reality. In your reality. Many times I will listen to someone and say, well, they're not in my reality. I don't know what reality they're in, but they're not in my reality. They're not spiritual, or they don't want a prayer, or they tell me what good Christians they are, but they don't have their Bible with them. You know, it's like there's only so many things we can say that hide us from others. Most people who've really experienced other people can see what's really happening. That's how Spirit is with us. Spirit sees what's really happening. We don't even have to say to Spirit, did you see what I just did? No. Do I care? Yes, because you, Spirit, care through me, through each one of you. Spirit cares. That's why we come together to assist each other. That's why we come together to say, I'm here for you. I've got your back. That's why we do that. Because the energy of Spirit just keeps moving and moving. I go out in the morning and I walk and I feel that energy. I can see it. I can feel it. And it is so wonderful. I open up all my doors at 4 o'clock in the morning and let the energy of spirit move through the entire apartment, because that's important to me where I am right now. That's important to me because I'm going through change. I'm accepting the new grandchild. I'm accepting the fact that spirit is moving through my life and something new is being created, but I don't know what it is. New birth, takes time. So if you're waiting for a change in your life, let it unfold, let it take time. Let it do what it needs to do, because what else are you going to do? What else could you do? I'm excited. That's my state of being. I'm excited about this. I don't know what it is. People say, well, what's new this week? And I go, I don't know. It doesn't appear to be anything new this week. However, I'm not aware of all levels of consciousness. I'm not aware of all levels of spirit. And I clearly would like to just let it be until it unfolds. Does any of this make sense to you? Is this what we teach? It is what we teach. It is at a level that is as clear and deep and centered as you want it to be. As you want it to be. If you do not want to be awake or conscious, you don't have to be. You simply don't. If you want to be, you will be as much as you let it. So in the dark side, if I'm working with my crystal, there's time when the sun isn't shining and things look dark. And I will share with you one of the things that I found and how fast and clearly it works, very clearly. Because I do say to God periodically, I just need some clarity here. And it always shows up. I just need some clarity here. And it always shows up. However, one of the little tricks that I've learned about metaphysics is don't block the light coming into the crystal or going out of the crystal. Don't block the light. What does that mean to you? Say louder.
Don't get in the way.
Good. Excellent. But what's the first thing we do when we're blocking? We make a judgment. That's not going to work. How many times have you said that? Don't show me your hands. I don't want to see them. How many times have you said that won't work? Talking about yourself or someone else or anything else. That's the immediate block. Oh, look, I just put my finger on the crystal. I just put my finger on a facet in the crystal and said, it won't work. The people that I know that get where they want to go don't block anything. They don't block the negative. They do their own thinking. Their thinking is, yes, this is where I'm going and that's how I'm going to get there, period. Well, I'm going somewhere and I'm going to get there with the clearest mind, with the most open mind. When things get presented to me, I'm not going to say, I can't do that. No, that won't work. If you're on the board, don't say no. Don't tell them, no, it won't work. No, we can't do it. Don't. God knows how to do this. God, Spirit, that which is greater than I am, knows exactly how to do that. So don't say no at the board level. Don't say no at the work level. Don't say no in your own personal level. You leave yourself open and find yourself a path in which people who are talking to you, who are saying negative things, who are saying that won't work, da-da-da-da-da, you just let it go right on by you. Right on by. Right on by. I don't attach. Oh, well, that's where the Buddhism comes in. You don't attach. But that's basic metaphysics. If you want to see something change, don't attach to the outcome. That makes sense? Okay. Because God may have a greater idea than you do. Oops. And I found many times that Spirit has a much bigger idea than I ever did. So I am doing my best at this point in my life not to say no to anything. I'm not saying no. But soon I will say no to one aspect, and then I'll be open to see what shows up because I want to see what shows up. How many of you have had a mordita in your lifetime? Do you know what that means? Small death. How many of you in your lifetime have had a small death? Exactly. I've had more than I care to think about sometimes. Well, I'm going through one now, and it means that I'm listening and I'm paying attention, and when the voice says, stop, okay, so it took a year to do that, just me and God. Only do that if you're really ready to face yourself. That's my suggestion. Totally face yourself. Okay. No intrusions. No. Text me. That's the kiss of death. Text me, and I'll answer or not. So it was my dedicated time to Spirit, to listen, to review, to think about what happened, to think about the past, to think about my 35 years and where I was and what I did. I can't even begin to tell you the list of schools and churches and places where I have taught pastoral care. It's hard to let go of, and you see it when you watch programs on TV, an older person talking about, I can't let go of that. That's what I am. That's who I am. Okay, that's where they are. That's their consciousness. That's exactly where they are. And there is nothing wrong with it. That's where they want to be. That's okay. Can I support you in that? Yes, I can support you in that. We're going to support you in that. Somebody tells me they're an atheist and they don't believe in God. I say, okay, let me put it this way. Is there something that you think of as greater than yourself? There is always a way to say it. There is always a way. I mean, it's a major lesson in my life. There is always a way to verbalize what's going on. And when I'm at a loss for that way, I generally say nothing. I generally say nothing. Because when I'm ready to speak to Spirit, Spirit being that which is unformed and God being that which is formed, they're the same. They're both in action, but one demonstrates the manifestation and one demonstrates the desire, that which is going on within your head, within your heart, all the unseen things. And it isn't formed yet. So I am not formed yet into that way which is going to be presented to me, or is being presented to me. I just haven't been observant enough to see it. That's another little joke God and I have. Oh, okay, I'll try not to trip over that. Where is it? So as we go along, there is a desire for me, I'm going to speak only for myself at this point, but I know it happens to other people, but I'm going to only speak for myself. There's a desire to grow greater with God. And because I want to grow greater with God, I want to grow greater with Spirit, which means that I have to really stop and pay attention. I'm going to a new class. It's called Spirit and I are growing up together. It's whatever the next stage is for me. I'm ready to make that stage. I'm ready for it. So, A lot of people like being exactly where they are. That's okay. The universe never does anything but give you permission to be right where you are. When Luke realizes that something's being asked for, he doesn't have an answer, but he is ready to respond. And it begins his quest. So part of this is listening. Sometimes, and I think certainly at my age, I would say, oh, I don't know. I could just do nothing. I could just go lay down on the couch and read and do nothing. Well, some of you must realize at this point, as I realize this, I'm not a lay on the couch person. Sorry, I'd like a little more activity. Not as much as I had, but a little more. So we know the order is in, and now we just wait. And we say things that are supportive of what we've asked. So stop and think about not blocking, not saying no. Don't say no. Look at what you are going for. Don't say no. It won't happen. No, I can't do that. Do not say that. Because you can do a lot more than you think you can, and people prove it all the time because they don't say no. This week I've been having pain in my toes. And I was telling Tina that I was walking and my toes were hurting. And I said, okay, toes, listen up. Here's what I have to say to you. I love you. And she laughed. I said, no. I tell my toes, I love you. Whenever there's a pain, I tell it, I love it. I love that pain because it brings me to a certain reality. Maybe not one I want to feel or hear or see, but it brings me to a reality. So part of the unblocking process is that when things happen that are painful, say, I love you. I love you. Well, that particular morning as I was walking, the toes stopped hurting. What part of yourself wants to be loved? Pay attention to the part of yourself that wants to be loved. It wants an alignment of love. And if you're saying, no, I don't feel any pain when you do, you're not telling that pain you love it. You're not offering it an opportunity to be something else besides a pain. You wouldn't do that with your children. If they're in pain, you hug them, you love them. So this is a part of me, and so I love it. That's a little thing I used to share when I was a chaplain. I would just say, love it. Tell it you love it. The finger, the arm, the head, whatever it is that hurts, tell it you love it. People used to look at me and go, are you insane? Yeah, I'm insane. Go ahead and try it. And then they'd look at me and laugh. Every once in a while, somebody'd say to me, well, you know, it worked. And I'd go, yeah, I know. So what I know about, I've done because I've experimented with it because I'm a scientist. And so now part of what I'm spending my time with is with science, growing with spirit and science, growing with it. And I know that as I go along, that the more light I let into it, the more I let that crystal shine on everything, the happier I'm going to be, the better I'm going to be, the clearer I'm going to be. It reminds me of that old commercial about, I think it's a filling station, so, come down to the filling station and fill up your car and come and visit our people. They'll be glad to see you. And at the end of the commercial, it says, yes, come and visit us. We'll leave the light on for you. It's one of my favorite commercials. And this week, while you're loving things, I want you to experiment with leaving the light on for yourself and for everyone else in your life. You are a blessing. Namaste.